Let me ask you something. What would you do if tomorrow the water stopped flowing? No tap water, no bottled water, no rain, just you, your family, and the terrifying realization that without water, you have only days to survive. Sounds extreme? Well, it's closer to reality than you think. My name is Chris Burns, and in this short but urgent video, I'm going to share the life-changing discovery that allowed me to create an unlimited supply of pure, clean, drinkable water. Right out of thin air. Yes, literally from thin air. For pennies on the dollar. No, this is not science fiction. This is a simple, genius invention used by militaries around the world, including the US, Israel, and India, to survive in the most brutal conditions on Earth, even in deserts where there isn't a single drop of water for miles. Now, before you think this is just some fancy military tech only billionaires can afford, let me stop you right there. Over 11,000 families, ordinary folks like you and me, have used this same method to survive hurricanes, floods, snowstorm, and even brutal droughts. You see, while the government tells you to trust the system, and while greedy corporations drain rivers and lakes to sell you overpriced bottled water, the truth is they don't want you to know that water independence is possible. But it is. And what I'm about to show you could change your life forever if you act before this video disappears, because I don't know how long I can keep this online. The pressure to take this down is real, so pay attention, because what you're about to hear could save your family. Let me explain how we got here, and why the water crisis is no longer a maybe. It's an absolute certainty. You see, most people never stop to think about how much water they use or how fragile the water supply really is. It's not just what comes out of your faucet. It's in everything. Your morning shower, 17 gallons. That cup of coffee, 34 gallons just to grow the beans, producing the gas for your car. 13 gallons per gallon of fuel. By lunchtime, you've unknowingly consumed thousands of gallons of water, most of it hidden, invisible. This is called virtual water. And while it sounds invisible, it's very real. But here's the terrifying part. The amount of fresh water on Earth hasn't changed in centuries. What has changed is the population. More people, more demand, less water to go around. And now, NASA, top universities, and climate researchers are screaming the alarm. A mega drought is coming, a decades-long super drought that could make entire regions unlivable. And it's already starting, I knew. Deep down, if I wanted to protect my family, waiting for FEMA, waiting for the government, or hoping the water company had my back, wasn't an option. I had to take control. But I'm no engineer, I'm no scientist, I'm just a farmer. I don't have fancy degrees or technical skills. I needed something simple, something affordable, something I could build with my own two hands fast. So I searched, and I searched, for weeks, sleepless nights, dead ends, scam products, outrageously expensive gadgets. I was about to give up, but then my wife, Liz, said something that changed everything. Why don't you call your uncle, Philip? She was right. Uncle Philip worked in military research for years. His mission? Find sustainable technologies to help soldiers survive anywhere, even in the most hostile, waterless environments on Earth. When I called him, he reminded me of something I'd completely forgotten, back when he was deployed with military units in the Middle East. He told me how troops were pulling drinking water straight from the air. No rivers, no wells, no rain, just air. That moment hit me like a lightning bolt. The solution was right there. A device that uses condensation. It pulls humid air, cools it like an air conditioner, and turns it into the purest drinking water you've ever tasted. And it works. Even in desert conditions, the US military uses it. The Israeli Defense Forces use it. France, India, Mexico. 7 militaries around the world rely on this tech in the most brutal places on Earth. And the best part? It's stupidly simple. No drilling, no expensive filtration systems, no reliance on corporations. There was one massive problem. The companies that sell these devices to civilians, they charge thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. Completely out of reach for most families, that wasn't an option. I needed something I could build myself, cheap, fast, simple. So I got in the truck, drove to Macon, Georgia, sat down with Uncle Philip, and I said, look, I don't care how complicated this is. You have to help me simplify this. My family is counting on me. At first, even Uncle Philip doubted we could do it. The military-grade devices were loaded with proprietary tech, expensive parts, and complex systems. But I refused to give up. I told him, it has to be affordable. It has to be simple enough that my wife and daughters could build it if something ever happens to me. And so, we got to work. The first few prototypes were a disaster. Either too complicated or way over budget. We argued a lot. I was stubborn. Uncle Philip was stubborn, but we kept going. Failure wasn't an option. And finally, after weeks of testing, tweaking, and cursing, we nailed it. A design so simple, so efficient, that anyone could build it, with parts you can find at Home Depot, or even a junkyard if you're resourceful. Total cost, $270. Time to build, less than an afternoon. And the result? Up to 20 gallons of pure, clean drinking water every single day. No chemicals, no contaminants, no utilities, just clean water from the air. I couldn't believe it. We tested it, and it worked perfectly. I stood there now watching clean, fresh water fill the container, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. True freedom. Freedom from the water companies. Freedom from the broken system. Freedom from fear. I rushed home with the blueprints, hugged my wife and kids, and got to work. In under an hour, using mostly materials from my own backyard. I built it. It worked like magic. A constant flow of fresh water, 24/7. For pennies, just a few cents per day to keep it running. Less than half of what you pay on your current water bill. And here's the best part. I realized this wasn't just about water. It was about teaching my daughters something far more important, that we don't have to depend on the government, that we don't have to be slaves to greedy corporations, that real freedom starts with self-reliance. This device, this discovery, became my family's insurance policy against whatever. Disaster comes next, whether it's a drought, a hurricane, a blackout, or even something worse. That's why I put together this step-by-step guide. It's called the Water Freedom System. The only proven simple guide that shows you how to build your own home oasis today. No technical skills, no expensive tools, no nonsense. Inside, you'll get the exact blueprint, the material list, and the step-by-step process to build it yourself, even if you've never touched a power tool in your life. But I need to be honest with you. I don't know how long I can keep this online. The water companies, the government, they hate this. They don't want you to be independent. They want you dependent, controlled. But today, you have a choice. You can take control. You can protect your family. You can become water independent forever. Click the link below. And while this is still up, do it now, because tomorrow could be too late.